Hi, it's Dino. Welcome back. For this mini lecture, we're going to be talking about isotypes. So, as you might think for your first question, what is an isotype? And then think about it in terms of the realm of information design. Isotype stands for the International System of Typographic Picture Education. More specifically, for definition, it's a symbolic way of representing quantitative info via easily interpretable icons. We talked a little bit about symbols before. We've been talking a little bit about icons, but so it's a combination of a couple of things. Again, trying to represent quantitative information easily using icons. Give you a couple of examples, sort of get your head around this new concept. Here are some really old school classic examples of isotypes. On the upper left, there's a picture of a person reading a book. Right beside that, there's a person doing diapers. Handshake beside that, hammer and sickle from the former USSR. Second row, skull representing things like death and poison, a building, and a book. Those are some basic examples. Here's a whole mess of other ones. I'm sure some of them are very familiar to you. Some maybe a little bit less so. So many isotypes. Enjoy. I wonder if you have any thoughts on these examples of isotypes. I'm sure some of you, especially younger people, might have some differing views. We'll get to the punchline to this question in a second. Although isotypes, international is the first word for the definition, although they're intended to be international and universal, many isotypes are unclear, as again you see from many of these examples here. To sort of fill out that idea, to look at these four specific isotypes, 1, 2, 3, and 4, some of you may be thinking that the following. Some, maybe even many isotypes have very limited lifespans and could cause confusion in the future. For example, let's just focus on the one on the far left. An old school dial-up telephone. People born these days, the digital natives as they call them, would have a hard time, unless they're visiting their grandparents' place, ever have cause to see one of the old school rotary telephones on the far left. As a result, as generationally we pass in slowly but surely from past into the future, some icons that represent something currently may have no bearing in the future. As a result, isotypes that are supposed to be international and universal may not be so much. Give you a couple of isotype rules and some questions to help move you along in your understanding of this new concept. Maybe you have some thoughts on the two images of a steer, one on the left, one on the right. Which one do you think might be better? One of the isotype rules is to keep images as simple as possible. Keep it simple, stupid. I know my spelling, so I know that that's intentionally spelled incorrectly. Stupid. Not you stupid, the word stupid. The one on the left is done like at a 45-degree angle, a little bit too complex. The one on the right is much more simple, right at a complete profile, very easy to see what it is. Keep your images as simple as possible for isotypes. Another rule. Instead of using length of abstract bar quantities, use small icons of the subject being visualized. As you can see, the fish on the very top, the barrel is at the bottom. If you're trying to do a quantity of something, you could literally count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fish. From that, again, say if they're each worth 1,000, etc., there'd be 9,000 fish if you have a legend for that. As a result, again, use small icons that you repeat over and over again to spell out quantities. I'll illustrate this new rule, this other rule, by looking at this counterexample. What is wrong with this example when you compare from 1950 to 2000, 400,000 to 800,000? Think about it for a moment, and I'll show you the answer. A greater quantity of something, for example a longer bar, should be represented by a greater number of icons, not by enlarging them. There is distortions when you see in this increase from the small 1950 400,000 to the 2000 800,000. A much better way to represent it is here on the right. where you have numbers of couples 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at the bottom. So it's easy to see that the bar on the bottom is twice as long as the bar on the top. Very easy to see this. And as the legend at the bottom of the image on the right says, each icon represents 100,000 marriages. So as long as you have a legend, you can denote very large figures using isotypes. Again, to sort of fill this out more, for large numbers, one icon could stand for many. For example, if a chart's legend said one sign stands for 1 million, then two icons represent 2 million, etc., etc., etc. As you see on the home and factory weaving in England on the right, the very bottom has a legend. Each blue symbol represents 50 million pounds total. Each black man symbol represents 10,000 home weavers. Each red man symbol represents 10,000 factory weavers. So again, very easy to count left to right. The legend at the bottom makes things very, very clear. Another rule. What rules do these figures represent? If you see the ones on the right, there's 1 and 2 AB, 4 different, there's multiple examples here on the right. So sort of maybe think to yourself which ones are easier if you needed to sort of, if you needed to communicate this information to make sure it was clear, or you're receiving it to see also that it's clear. Where possible, use a horizontal arrangement of icons than vertical. The two at the bottom are examples of that. Circles of different sizes are not good ways to show different quantities. As you see from the two circles, the two pie graphs on the right. A couple of other rules from the past. The last slide. Bar charts are a good representation of data. It's very easy to not only give each part of the bar a specific quantity and to compare bar charts if there's different quantities for different lines on the bar chart. That's very good. Also, color strictly should be used for information, not decoration. Therefore, strictly restrict color use. If you have too many colors, it makes it more chaotic, not understandable. With that, that's our introduction to isotypes. Thanks for listening to this mini lecture. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Take care.